All right. 10 people in here so far. Okay, I got hold on to clear this stuff real quick. There. Been having people ask me for updates on the Tuttle raid. We're coming up on 3 years now since rogue Houston police officers lied to get a warrant, a no-knock warrant, to raid a house looking for illicit narcotics. In the course of that raid, 5 officers were injured, and the homeowner, his spouse, and their dog were murdered. The wife appears to have died outright. Dennis Tuttle lay on the floor bleeding out for quite some time, hollering for help, begging for help, till the police snipers went in and shot him through a side window, killing him. The family has, the Harris County forensics team came out and did a shoddy job on the crime scene. Following that, the family hired an attorney who brought in a private crime scene investigator, and they discovered, tons and tons of evidence that had gone undocumented, leaving questions about the Harris County forensics unit's ability to carry out their function. That is yet to be addressed. Houston police have never, ever shown us even a photograph of the 5-shot snub-nosed 357 revolver that Dennis Tuttle is supposed to have used to wound officers, which and to the best of my knowledge, no 38 caliber, which 357 is 38 caliber, bullets were recovered. I have yet to see any evidence of that. But there were a ton of 5.56 and 45 auto, and I believe a couple of 9mm, as well as some 12-gauge buckshot. But that's not what you're here for. You want to hear the updates on this. So I'm going to get to it. I just want to reiterate one thing. At the time this happened, I went around to HPD headquarters and attempted to collect donations from Houston police officers. I also went to their union building to help pay for the Tuttle's funeral and burial expenses. I collected not one penny from any Houston police officer. Not one penny. Yet the police union was giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the officers involved for medical expenses and attorney fees after they were charged. Made their bond, hundreds of thousands of dollars to help out the criminals who committed this act. Now, HPD did a big investigation into their narcotics division, and they said, oh, this was an isolated incident. I'm here to tell you that is a lie. They lied to prevent liability in other cases that were pending at the time, and could have gotten cases overturned because they would have been found to have been corrupted. The entire division, not just an individual team, the way that this was happening, the methodology involved in what happened to the Tuttles is system-wide in the narcotics division. And anybody that tells you any different is lying to you. The Houston Narcotics Division needs to be dismantled and completely 100% overhauled. So, enough of my yapping. Let's start with this video here, and I will post links to each and everything here. I'll post a link in the description when I get a second. This is the Houston National Cemetery. It's the Veterans Cemetery. I have a brother that's buried there. And Dennis Tuttle was a veteran, and he is interned there. I'm going to play this video for you, and again, the link will be in the description so that you can go over there and watch this video. It's not very long, so I'm just going to let you guys roll through it.
Hey everybody, doing a little something different today. I'm out here in Houston at the Houston National Cemetery, and I want to show y'all something. Guys, this is Dennis Tuttle's grave. Him and Gina Nichols. If you guys want to come out here, it's all the way in the back. It's all the way in the back, section 1. And it's right here in the front.
Now keep in mind, no Houston police officer, not one of them, donated to assist in any funeral costs associated with putting the Tuttles to rest. Think about that. Yet they spent thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to assist their Union brothers that they still refer to as heroes. Yeah, they refer to Gerald Goins as a hero. And the others involved in this, they refer to them as heroes. I don't see it. So Gerald Goins and Steve Bryant, were two of the first officers involved that were arrested and charged in relation to things that occurred with this killing, with the botched raid. And so Bryant cut a deal, and Kim Ogg, the Harris County District Attorney, dropped all charges against him. However, he pled guilty to federal charges in the raid, and here is a quick article about that, and I'm just going to give you the synopsis on it. He admits that he participated in covering up and trying to help Officer Goins by saying that he made a follow-up report saying that he had witnessed a drug purchase, and had identified the drugs that were recovered as being I think he said heroin in here. So a lot of people are upset that the case against him was dropped and he gets to go to Club Fed. Now a lot of you are probably thinking, well, you know, Club Fed, that's just a vacation for him. You know, the federal system is not like it used to be. Okay? The easy times there are not what they used to be. I mean, they don't have swimming pools anymore. They filled them all in. Built tennis courts on top of them. Yeah, you think I'm kidding, right? That's the kind of prison this guy's going to go to. He'll have weekend passes to come home to spend with his family. It's ridiculous that this guy is going to skate, go do a few years in Club Fed, and then be out. That is ridiculous. Every officer involved in that raid should be in prison. And the union guys will say, oh, they didn't know. Yes, they did know. And if they didn't, they should have asked questions. If we don't make an example of these people, it will just continue to happen. So there's Steve Bryant. He's off the hook now. He'll go do 2 or 3 years in the federal prison, and he'll be out, and you know, his life will go on. You know, but you saw where the Tuttles are, right? That's where the Tuttles are. Their lives aren't going on. They don't ever get to see any family again. They don't ever get to have a peach milkshake from Chick-fil-A again. They don't ever get to see each other again. They're there. It's done. It's over for them. How do we get justice? How is it justice for them by allowing these people to walk? 3 years this case has been going on. 3 years. And now, one of the other officers involved has had his charges dropped because they had concerns about the prosecutor that had been involved in the case. Amongst other things, he was sharing information, inside information about the case, so they have fired that prosecutor. I'm going to read this to you in just a second. But I want to point out the hypocrisy of this. I had a prosecutor on the inside sharing information about my case with a family member, Irvin, I forget his last name, Irvin something or other. Irvin Nichols? I'd have to go back and look up his name now, and then he was using that information to harass and taunt me. Came to my home, threatening to beat me and daring me to come outside, blah, blah, blah. But the DA says that's no big deal. It's not a problem. But here we have this case, and it is a problem all of a sudden. How weird is that? So let me get with you on this. This is via the Associated Press, August 17th. Prosecutors dropped a murder count for now against a Houston police officer Tuesday, who was charged for his role in a fraudulent 2019 drug raid that left 2 homeowners dead. Wasn't 2019, but okay. Officer Felipe Gallegos had been charged with murdering Dennis Tuttle during the January 20th raid, the warrant for which prosecutors say now former officer Gerald Goins lied to obtain. Goins is still charged with multiple counts, including murder, for the raid that left Tuttle, 59, and Regina Nichols, 58, dead. The conduct of a former prosecutor who handled the case raised concerns about his judgment and resulted in his termination from the office, said Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg in a statement. Out of duty and an abundance of caution, all evidence in the shooting will be re-reviewed by a different prosecutor and re-presented to a grand jury. Remind me to tell you all about grand juries. Ogg did not identify the former prosecutor or elaborate on his conduct, but said Gallegos would be allowed to testify before the grand jury. Remind me to tell you all about grand juries in a minute. People's lives hang in the balance of every decision that we make, and it is incumbent upon me as district attorney to have this situation re-reviewed to ensure justice in this case, as in every case. A message to Rusty Harding, Gallegos' attorney, was not immediately returned. Goins and Gallegos were among dozens of current and former officers tied to the narcotics unit that conducted the raid, who have been indicted in state and federal court in the wake of the shootings. Prosecutors have alleged Goins lied to obtain a search warrant by claiming a confidential informant had bought heroin there. They alleged that Goins later said there was no informant and he had bought the drugs himself. Police found small amounts of marijuana and cocaine in the house, but no heroin. Okay, that is incorrect. They did find a very small amount of marijuana. They found no cocaine, heroin, etc. They did find some unknown substances that, for some reason, after all their testing and everything, they couldn't figure out what they were. So, the police union runs around saying it was heroin and cocaine and all this stuff. I personally spoke to the person that sold them weed. He's their personal drug dealer, I guess. I don't know what you want to call him. Or their supplier. And he said they couldn't afford anything except small amounts of weed, which she smoked because she had cancer, and it helped to mitigate the after effects of cancer and some drugs that she took for the cancer. Grand juries. The district attorney will not normally allow you to testify before a grand jury And your prosecuting, I mean, your defense attorneys will almost never allow you to talk before a grand jury because the defense attorney cannot be there. Only the DA or the assistant DA can be there. So if you're going in there to testify before a grand jury and the DA is allowing that, something's wrong. Something is wrong. I can tell you, I wasn't allowed to go to the grand jury. As a matter of fact, we made up packets to give to the grand jury, and after the fact, they were never given to them by the assistant DA that went to the grand jury. As a matter of fact, we had a grand jury that was no billing something like 60 or 70% of cases, and the district attorney was freaking out. And my ADA was specifically told not to bring my case before the grand jury at that time, to wait until they had seated a new grand jury before presenting my case, which is why it took them, I forget how many months, to get before grand jury with my case. We're getting all this in documents and whatnot now, and we're finding just the level of corruption under Kim Ogg is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So when you're telling me that that the DA is having Gallegos up to testify before the grand jury, that sounds like the DA is trying to give him an out, a way to explain himself to the grand jury so he doesn't get re-indicted, and they can say, oh well, the grand jury didn't indict him, so we had to let it go. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like the police union has gotten to the district attorney, is what it sounds like. And don't doubt it. Don't doubt it for a minute. So all right, let me go over here for questions. Chemotherapy, hey Joshua Warden, talking about chemotherapy, I've had family members that had cancer. Cancer runs in my family. And the ones that took chemo the first time around, when cancer came back, 5-6 years later, wouldn't do it again. So that should tell you how bad the chemo is. It buys you 4 or 5 years in most instances, but it's not a permanent fix, and it's bad. It's really bad. Didn't know police raided homes. Yes, they get warrants, and they raid homes, and they really like these no-knock warrants, because then they can just kick your door in anytime they want, and go in. Now, something that's not mentioned in these articles is that when after they got Goins was wounded during the fracas, and we're sure it was by friendly fire, they found narcotics on him. He brought narcotics to the raid. He was going to plant them. It's obvious what he was going to do. He was going to plant the narcotics. And I'm not entirely sure that he did not plant something in there, or one of his buddies. Okay? You cannot trust anything that comes out of the Houston Police Department cannot be trusted. Nothing. As a matter of fact, I'll go on to say that there's a lot of police departments, anything that comes out of them, you cannot believe or trust. So if you're ever sitting on a jury and they bring a police officer in, they say, oh, he's a police officer, so we'll defer to his judgment, and everything he says is going to be true. It's a lie from the start. And honestly, if you're sitting on a jury, I don't care what the cause is, I don't care what the case is, you need to look at it very carefully. And if there's one iota of doubt in your mind, you need to be voting not guilty. No compromise, no nothing. It's not guilty. See, a lot of juries these days do what are called compromises, compromise verdicts. And what it is they're in there and they can't figure it out. You got half of them saying guilty, half of them saying not guilty. So what they'll do is they'll do something like, okay, well, we don't want to cause a mistrial and have to go through all this again. So what we'll do is I'll vote guilty with you if you let us pick the punishment. Something along those lines. And that is the greatest disservice you can do to somebody accused of a crime. Your job is not to go in there and compromise. You either believe somebody's guilty or you believe they're not guilty. You don't make deals on somebody's freedom. Guilty or not guilty, not compromise. Compromise is nowhere in the documents that you have to fill out and turn into the judge. Guilty or not guilty. You vote your conscience, you vote what you believe based on what is presented to you, and hopefully you disregard any testimony or facts that are given by police. You vote your conscience, you vote what you believe the situation is, either guilty or not guilty, and you stick to it. You stick to it. That's it. If it causes a mistrial, that's not your fault and it's not your problem. You're playing with somebody's freedom. You're playing with somebody's life. Grand juries in Texas are a joke. Feds can pick up the case. The feds probably will pick up one of the cases on Gallegos, but again, so he's going to go to one of these nice prisons with tennis courts and stuff like that, and the union will see to it that he is well taken care of. He'll go spend a couple of years on vacation and then come home. Did the Tuttles get to come home? No. State needs to pick it up and run with it 100%. I don't care what the feds do. The state needs to run with the charges, prosecute, convict, and put their asses in prison for the rest of their lives. Send a message to the crooked cops in that narcotics division over there, because they're doing the same thing again. This was just the first time they've been caught. Goins was known. Goins, even I knew who Goins was, because I had so many people reaching out to me telling me what he was doing, how crooked he was. The Harris County District Attorney knew he was crooked, had already kicked a bunch of his cases. His supervisors, the people he worked with, these people are not ignorant to this. He didn't go in there and invent this method of doing things. It was taught to him, and he's taught it to others. Most police departments' narcotics divisions turn over every 24 months. You do 24 months in there and then you're out. They do that for a reason. HPD doesn't do that. You can be in narcotics your entire career. It's wrong. And it shouldn't be happening. I didn't see who threw me the super chat, but thank you. Yeah, they will not allow jury nullification as a topic for discussion in any courtroom I know of, because they don't want you taking away that judge's power. Yeah, jurors compromise because they want to get out of the case and get home. I understand that. But you're playing with somebody's life. Think about that. So, if you need to compromise on not guilty. You don't have to compromise on a guilty verdict. That other guy can compromise on a not guilty. Better to let a guilty man go, because he'll go do something else stupid and get caught. Better to let a guilty man go than to put an innocent man in prison. I firmly believe that. It's better to let 10 guilty men go than to put one innocent man in prison. Thank you, Evil Empire. Thank you. We need more, people need to stop and focus. And I know we're getting there. We're getting more and more people to look at what's really happening, okay? But we've got to accelerate that pace. We've got to get more people looking faster so that we can start keeping innocent people out of jail. I've been posting links here and there about innocent people. The Freedom Coalition is reinvestigating old convictions on people and finding based on what they said. Now, this is based on their conclusions, but they say that 48% of people in prison shouldn't be there. 48% wrongly convicted. 48% wrongly convicted. Think about that. That's almost half of people, the people that go to jail. Half are wrongly and falsely convicted. Half. In a country that has the largest incarceration rate in the world. How can people not see that there's something not right with that picture? Something's wrong with that picture. I don't get it. Think. Focus. Act. Hey, thank you, High Impact. Yeah, the DNA testing has been, law enforcement thought that DNA testing was going to be the big boom for them. They were going to solve all these old cases with DNA testing and put lots and lots of new people in prison. And they have had some success with that. Thank God for DNA, because most of the people now that are being found innocent, people who have been previously convicted, are being found innocent now thanks to DNA. Thanks to the DNA evidence. So now all of a sudden the DAs and the police are like, oh wait, we didn't foresee this coming. Well, he may not have done the crime, but he was nearby, so he had something to do with it. They can't stand up and say, we were wrong. We screwed up. We believed the police. We believed the police. That was the problem. Because then everybody's going to look and say, oh, well, the police are still putting people on trial and stuff, so maybe we should be changing something? Maybe we should be looking at the police a little more closely? Any district attorney that knows the evidence is screwed up and ties somebody's life up, keeping them on bond, or sends an innocent person to prison, when their case is overturned, that DA should have to go to prison and serve an equal amount of time. Any cop that hides evidence, fabricates evidence, or lies to get a conviction in court, when that innocent man walks, that cop or cops, because it's usually more than one, like in my thing with Deer Park, that's a group effort. Chief, assistant chief, division supervisor, and at least one, if not two, detectives. So there's 5, maybe 6 people involved in that conspiracy. When those cops, when they've determined that you're innocent and they let you out of prison, those cops should have to take your place for an equal amount of time. We start putting cops in prison for doing wrong, and they'll stop doing wrong. Right? That's the whole premise of what these district attorneys talk about is, oh, we'll make an example out of this guy. We'll give him 20 years for selling dope. But then when the cops get caught selling dope, oh, we'll give him probation. It's no big deal. The only way that changes is if you start looking at these prospective district attorneys, talking to them, and ensuring that they're going to mete out equal punishment for equal offenses, and that they are going to not tolerate crooked cops, that they are going to prosecute crooked cops, and then that's who you vote for. Until we start charging these people, this stuff is going to continue. Okay, somebody else. Go over here now. Makes you wonder how many times it's happened in this department before. It's innumerable. It's innumerable. You know, and the cops think they can get away with it because they've always gotten away with it. In the course of, I'll give you a for instance here. When I was arrested outside Shell, the Harris County Sheriff's Department got hammered with phone calls. And so they put out a statement that was all lies. Said I was sneaking along the fence line, heavily camouflaged. They made it sound like I was in a ghillie suit. Heavily camouflaged, trying to conceal myself in what I was doing. Well, in the past, they've always been able to put stuff like that out, and whatever they said, people believed it. Unfortunately for them, cameras don't lie, and I had everything on camera. So they were busted. And they're not the only department that does that. They put out lie after lie after lie after lie. I just took a deputy to task over the Goforth shooting. Goforth was a deputy sheriff for Harris County, and they run around talking about he's a hero, he was killed in the line of duty, all this stuff, because they count on the public having a short memory. Well, let me tell you about Mr. Goforth. Mr. Goforth was supposed to be on duty someplace else, and he snuck outside his district to go meet his mistress. He's married with several children. Snuck outside his district, where he's supposed to be, to meet his mistress, and some guy that was infatuated with her, which they never talk about that, comes up and shoots him, kills him. And I'm not saying that was the right thing to have happen. I'm not saying that at all. My point is, there's nothing heroic about that. There's nothing in the line of duty about sneaking off and getting killed while you're meeting your mistress. Okay, that's not in the line of duty, and that's not what heroes do. In the aftermath of that, another detective got wound up with the witness and tampered with some evidence and stuff, and they screwed the case up so bad because this other detective wanted to have that girl for his mistress, so he ends up tied up with her, hooked up with her. Anyway, they screwed the case up so bad they couldn't prosecute the guy. The best they could do was get him put in a mental institution. Heroes, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Wig Alert. Which Judge BSG gave him 60 days active, in which he bonded out, and he is appealing. Okay, good. It's good to know. God's not going to fix the cops. The cops, these police departments, they put "In God We Trust" on their vehicles. That's just to hide how evil they are. That's just PR. Okay, that's just public relations. It's more lies, because you as an individual, I say this all the time. If you're standing by while bad cops do bad things, you're just as bad as they are. So that type of stuff does not belong on a police vehicle at all. What else? Floyd is fighting his case up there in Malone, where he was charged with menacing because he was taking pictures of a jail. He said, according to the police there, that is menacing to the employees. That scares the employees. And so they criminally charged him with like 6 or 7 cases. His bond was, I don't know, something crazy, $30,000 or something. Anyway, hold on. If any of you would like to help Floyd out, he's hiring a lawyer that has done good work against that particular place. He has previously sued them and tore them a new booty. So Floyd is trying to engage him. If you want to assist Floyd and donate, Lanley, can you post a link in the chat there for them? You know, if you just got $5 to send him, hey, shoot him some change. Help him out. Help a brother out. What else? I think that is it, guys. A lot of people were wanting to hear about this thing with the Tuttles, and I've been kind of quiet about it for a while I've just been waiting on it to play out. And it's kind of going the way that we figured it would go. The Houston Police Union runs around, oh, remember the Houston Five? I remember them. I remember them very well. And it appeared to, and just for the record, it appeared to myself and at least one other investigative journalist that was a hit on one of the officers, because all the gunfire wasn't directed to where Dennis Tuttle was. The gunfire was directed to where officers were standing. So we'll never be able to prove it, and HPD is hiding everything to do with that. The forensics people are hiding everything to do with that. They won't release anything about it. But of course, given how badly they botched the crime scene, you know, I don't know why the county even has them. If more information comes available, I'll share it with you guys. I have seen Gerald Goins when a couple of times in court. He has the same court I do, and you know, I don't talk to him, don't try to engage him. I really don't care to hear anything he has to say. My mind's made up, and I wish I could be on the jury. Guys, that is it. I appreciate y'all jumping in here, and I will go to comments one more time, see if there's anything there, and then I'm going to bounce. Dr. Lexus, don't worry, guys. I'm going to take care of Floyd's full payment. Neo, David's taking this hard. I am taking this hard. You know why I'm taking this hard? You know why I'm so up HPD's butt about this? It's because HPD's not up their own butt about it. Because they are defending these officers, protecting them. The Houston Police Union, for those of you that don't know, on their website, you can go over and look at it, Houston Police Officers Association, and it gives their history. Go to their history link. It very clearly says right there, they organized and founded the Houston Police Union to protect a crooked cop. They had a cop that worked vice that was, instead of arresting ladies of the night, he would have them perform things for him rather than go to jail. Got caught, got fired. Police union was formed to fight for that guy. That tells you everything you need to know about the Houston Police Officers Union. And Joe Gamaldi, well, you already know. You already know how crooked he is. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm going to jump off of here. I appreciate y'all hopping in here and watching me and putting up with me getting on my soapbox. Spend a lot of time cop watching these days. That kind of keeps me busy. I'm out most nights. It's storming out here tonight, so I came to get this off my chest in the meantime. Y'all be safe, and I'll see you again soon. Be sure to go over and subscribe to Justin Pulliam's channel. Need to get Justin up. Also, don't leave yet. Wait, don't leave. I found a new auditor that I absolutely love. Okay? And I'm going to do a video about it. But, man, if you guys haven't seen Long Island Audits, this guy is awesome. And he's doing it right. Start to finish, he's doing it right. You can look at his videos and tell he models himself after me. So he started by looking at me, and I'm happy to say I love the work he's doing. He is 100% doing it right. It's Long Island Audits. Go check him out. Len Lee, if you could post, or one of the mods, if you could post a link to Long Island Audits, that'd be great. Guys, go check him out. He's getting the kind of content and kind of reactions and the kind of stuff directed at him that I used to get when I first started. It's like, man, it's like the Wild West up there, like Texas used to be before I started training them. So go check him out, Long Island Audits. His name is Sean Reyes, I believe. So I want to do a video and review a couple of his videos and post for you guys when I get a second. But awesome work that guy's doing. Absolutely awesome. So that's it. Now, officially, I'm done here. So you guys have a nice night, and I'll get with you soon. Hey, James, go ahead and kill this live stream. And he's going to mess with me and not do it, right? Come on.